had finished my own sentence period and I got sentenced to 9.5 years. Because I hadn't cooperated with the prosecutor, she'd done a number of tricks on me throughout my remand, like stopping my girlfriend from visiting me. But a final farewell was she accidentally put my 9.5 year sentence down as 34 years. So I was fast tracked to Supermax then for about 3 or 4 months, where I wasn't supposed to be until they fixed that. After that, I got sentenced to medium security, hoping that they would be softer than, Supermax and these other places that come from Max in the jail. But I end up in a cell with a serial home invader torturer. This guy was breaking into people's houses, tying them up with duct tape and taking hammers to their kneecaps. And his welcome statement to me, I've got a padlock and a sock, because smash your brains in while you sleep can kill you whenever you want. So he didn't like me from the get-go. He was an old con. He looked at me as a fresh fish. He just was running a tattoo shop, a legal tattoo shop out the cell and just, doing the heroin all day. And I'm in there, I've got an education, bit of a nerdy guy. So he didn't like that at all. So he got his mate, who was a huge guy, to attack me when my parents had flown 5,000 miles to visit me for Christmas. Prison's like high school mentality with deadly consequences. The two things prisoners look forward to the most are visits and mail. So he knew by spoiling that visit, that would be devastating for me. So I'm on the way to the visit. Big guy, just chicken shit move, sneaks up behind me, bam, bam, starts kidney punching. All the prisoners stop to see my reaction because gang rule is you must hit back or else you're a punk. Everyone's going to prey on you. If you don't hit back, bad consequences with the prisoners. But if you do hit back and the guards see it, then you're arrested, sent to a prison within the prison, locked down, lose all your privileges, including your visits, and they can add more time onto your sentence. If you don't hit back, you become a prison punk. You're going to spend the rest of your time inside, cleaning people's toilets, performing sexual services, and getting rented out as a prison prostitute. So what do you do in that situation? You got to throw the kicks and punches. But this guy was so big and strong, it was like hitting a big bag of cement. It didn't end up well for me. He knocked me down, smashed me up, and I ended up going to the visit all injured. Now, I did manage to get moved out of that cell. And my new cellmate, Long Island, he'd come from a prison where his neighbour had said, if you come into contact with an English guy, English Shaun, he's a good dude, I did business with him on the streets. This is a guy called Gangster Dan from Philadelphia. He had like his thumb missing and shit. So Long Island ends up my cellmate, and the chances of that, there's 60,000 people in the prison system at that point in time. Prisons all over Arizona as they've expanded with the private prisons. So as much as people came out the blue to harm me, people came out the blue to help me. Now, Long Island, he caught wind of the beef I'd had with my previous cellmate. He was still sweating me a bit, throwing batteries at me and shit. And so he decided to introduce me to someone who could protect me. And that was Two Tonys, because he knew that if I clicked up with him, I might, it would help me on the yard. So he didn't tell me that. He said, look, I want you to have a game of chess with my friend Two Tonys. All right, cool. What's he in for? He's a multiple homicide murderer. He's doing 141 years. He left the dead bodies of rivals from Arizona to Alaska. He's old school Italian mafia, never harm women or kids. So if you've only murdered rival gangsters, you're top of the respect in the prison. Now, Two Tonys worked for the Bonanno crime family under Joe Bonanno Sr. Joe Bonanno Sr. was one of the longest running ever heads of the Mafia Council. And yeah, he did eventually get run out of New York and ended up in Tucson, Arizona, but he died of natural causes. So he was quite a shrewd individual. And Two Tonys was taught by Charlie Bat Battaglia, which was a Bonanno lieutenant, how to whack people and dispose of the bodies and not get caught, because Charlie Bat Battaglia had whacked people from coast to coast and he hadn't got caught. Now, before I could stop Long Island going to get Two Tonys because I'm like shitting it now, thinking, all right, what if I beat him at chess? Maybe he's gonna not. Maybe I'll be next on his hit list. But before I could stop him, he just took off. So I'm stood in the day room, crapping myself. But Two Tonys, he's done a lot of time by now, like 20 something years, maybe 30 something years. He comes down the stairs like Uncle Junior out The Sopranos. And then in a fake British accent, he sees I'm nervous and he puts me at ease. He goes, "Have you ever had bloody tea and crumpets with the Beatles?"
Bloody tea and crumpets.
Yeah, so I played chess with him. I beat him quite fast. And at the end of the game, he said,
Uh-oh.
"How come you beat me so fast?" I said, "Because you kept speaking your mind throughout the game. You wouldn't show someone your hand in a game of cards, would you?" And he slaps his head and he goes, "Oh, me and my big mouth." I didn't know it, but he was testing me. Long Island had told him I was a writer and I had a blog, John's Jail Journal. And Two Tonys was looking for someone to write his life story. So he said, "Look, Shaun, to stay alive on the road of life, I've had to become a quick judge of character. I like you. I think you're an honest guy. Would you be willing to write my life story?" I said, "Yeah, I would be honored." Now, I wasn't supposed to go in his cell, but cell visiting is prohibited. But he had people stationed outside watching for guards. And I'm in his cell now for months on end, every single day, writing his life story down as a book. And by the end of it, he said that he felt like I was the son that he never had. And when we were at the fence saying goodbye, just as I was about to get released, by that time I was in minimum security, he came to the fence to say goodbye. Both of our eyes were misting over. We had such a powerful bond. Now, sadly, Two Tonys died in 2010 from liver cancer from his own drug taking. So he didn't get to see the publication of his book, which is called The Mafia Philosopher, Two Tonys, which is available worldwide on Amazon if anybody wants to check that out.